Alrighty then, it's time. Well, it's time for a game. I'll put it that way. Which one? From this title, which hopefully doesn't piss off too many people, you can tell you're going to be in for an interesting time. I shouldn't even bother telling you my runes and masteries, because by the end of this video, you're like, I don't want to build the same way Stonewall does. You know, I've had a lot of criticisms in the past before. Positive, negative, that kind of things. You know, your videos are too long, they're too short, you only post wins, you only post a few losses, blah, that kind of stuff. So, I'm doing something different. This game, well, it's a game, right? There's not many words to describe it. The early game is, you know, slow, it kind of runs like a basic kind of game, back and forth a little. But the mid-game and beyond, well, calling it a doozy doesn't describe it very well. Anyhow, look at my team. Look at the enemy team. There's a lot of things wrong with both teams, but my team is literally the definition of anti-synergy. We really cannot play properly. Like, Gragas will screw up Nunu and Misfortune. Rakan wants to sort of initiate a catch or something, but the other two aren't really that good for, you know, grabbing people and making sure they die. Tryndamere doesn't want to participate in team fights. We don't really have a lot we can do to control team fights, period. It's like, I don't know. Our team just doesn't mesh well. Right now, the early game, we're going to catch a bit of a slight lead. It's only really slight. Mostly because individually our lanes can at least handle themselves or survive and do something. But that Lee, I think he was trying to use the explosion stuff to stop Nunu, but it was totally unnecessary. Nunu definitely dies anyways. But yeah, early on it's just kind of, you know, the lanes individually doing what they do. But once the mid of the game rolls in, once team fighting and, you know, grouping becomes a thing, it's, yeah, that's when the magic happens. Anyways, usually when I play with my Discord buddies, we just kind of play what we want for the hell of it. And sometimes we fight super try-hardy opponents, and sometimes we fight special opponents. But every now and then we get punished for the wacky team comps we have. In this game, I'm feeling the burn because, I mean, their team comp isn't completely solid and perfect, but they're definitely more, you know, adhesive, or at least powerful than ours when it comes to team fights. Okay, again, the early phase is just kind of slower. I gained some advantages early on from the double kill. You know, building quasi properly, getting some damage ganks in there, burning their summoner spells, but really nothing much is coming from it. In a case like this, what I was pondering with my teammates, or what we were talking about, is what are we gonna do when it comes mid-game? You know, with most team compositions, even really janky ones, you can be like, okay, these are our strengths, we can sort of, you know, aim to do this thing, and then try to do it, right? Right now, the only strength we have is that Gragas is a really good ganker, and the laners won't positively just die. Especially because their bottom lane is, while Kog'Maw is strong, KO isn't really that good as a support champion. So they can't really deal with the damage that Misfortune has. So they constantly have to bring in the jungler down there or do something. So bottom lane is all right. Farm wise, not so much, but they're holding it in, right? I'm coming by every now and then to just relieve any pressure that happens because of Lee Sin's shenanigans, and we do get at least 1 or 2 kills every now and then. Or in this case, we're gonna easily kill the KO. I was trying to give it to the Misfortune, but the Rakan decided to take it. Whatever, right? So early game, yeah, it goes in our favor because we have Gragas as a ganker, and the Lee Sin is sort of distracted with bottom lane. And top lane, and Tryndamere and Nunu are those kind of champions that just kind of don't lose their lanes, even though they don't necessarily win it, without having some form of, you know, shenanigans being brought to them. Right now, again, just mid-game, I mean, early game is rather slow. As you can tell, 13 minutes in, the video itself has been 4 minutes. Usually that only happens if, you know, I usually zoom through the video during phases where it doesn't really have that much. But yeah, right now you start to slowly see the creep on us, right? For the lane phase, we sort of won, or we were sort of alright, holding it in, winning a bit. But once starts rolling into mid-game, once players start getting items, that's when your team composition really starts mattering, because fights are no longer one-on-one, fights become 2-on-2s and 3-on-3s and that kind of stuff. So your bad champions, your bad itemization, or just whatever essentially starts working against you. So now my team is beginning to feel the squeeze. Our composition isn't that strong. We're gonna say items come into play, so whatever safety net Nunu and Tryndamere had is no longer existent. We lost mid and top as a result of this, and bottom lane can no longer even stand toe to toe. Like, yeah, they're also being kind of getting destroyed by the random teleports of the jungler showing up, but you get what I mean, right? Here, I finally feel the effects of the body slam from Gragas, the body slam nerf, and I don't hit Vel'Koz, and then I just get killed. Hooray for us. Now we're on the losing end. And, you know, even though the score was 5-5, which is 6-5 now, it's technically way favoring them, because the kills around this phase of the game are far more important and valuable, because every time they kill somebody, they actually get to do something. So early game shenanigans didn't bother. However, I hope you're noticing one mistake they're already sort of kind of doing. Tryndamere got to take a top tower because they're just kind of ignoring him. And you know the rule of Tryndamere. Tryndamere 101. Don't let Tryndamere just be by himself. Because if he farms up, he'll kill anybody. And if you leave him alone, he'll probably take your entire base. Anyways, that was actually a pretty good ultimate by me. The enemy Kog'Maw and KO get caught and just annihilated. That was a very clear form of actual synergy we had. But if you watch it again, it was very risky, very kind of, a lot of potentially could have gone wrong there. That's the problem with my team comp. Well, we could technically work in some aspects where it's going to take a lot of effort and kind of, you know, luck. There I outsmart the enemy Lee Sin, and we slowly kind of kill him. And I end up getting the red buff. I probably should have given it to Misfortune, but if you look at this situation right here, she kind of walks into her death, so kind of better that I got it, so. But you get what I mean, right? In most situations, our composition wouldn't work out, but in that little kill we got there, it just happened to be that my barrel hit squarely where it needed to be. The enemy team used flash and everything, but my team had their summoner spells and their abilities to close that gap and do that wombo combo. Here, you know, the barrel didn't do anything to Kog'Maw, but I still end up being able to kill him. Here is actually a pretty good example of the enemy team overstaying their welcome. They try to cut us off all sorts of cute and whatnot, and Kog'Maw got punished for it, and then they couldn't kill us because they attacked me and they switched to the Rakan, and Rakan was able to keep alive long enough for them to kind of just waste a lot of volleys and time. And then they just kind of died. Anyways, here's where the problems of my team comp start rearing their ugly head. So, we have initiation from Gragas, but the follow-up for my team is going to be near impossible because they need to be in a certain position to set up. But that makes it very predictable what I want to go in. So the enemy KO can get ready with her ultimate, the Kog'Maw can move to a safer spot, and Lee Sin can move to intercept. So there's very little we can do in most team fights. All in the meanwhile though, Tryndamere is doing Tryndamere things, split pushing. And we're doing our very best to allow that to happen. So, you know, right, this game, we had a really bad team composition. We didn't know what we could do. It was just, you know, like our team is it's just the definition of anti-synergy. But what we didn't know is that we picked 4 supports, right? Tanky Gragas, AD carry, Misfortune. We didn't pick those. We are 4 supports, and we're supporting Tryndamere right now. Godspeed, Tryndamere, as long as he, you know, doesn't die. But you can tell. He's getting up there in farm. They're kind of just flat out ignoring him constantly. He's like every time they go for a team fight or something, they kill a few of us, but then they can't push an objective because Tryndamere is about to destroy their base. So that's our best bet right now. But even then, you know, even if we get one really bad team fight on our end, they could just end us, right? Tryndamere can sometimes come in for a sneaky kill, but most of the time our team comp is just better off not really being together as a team, right? It's one of those, there is no, you know, I and team kind of compositions. Whatever the case, our best bet right now is to try to pick someone off and then go, you know, sort of split push objectives. Us go for bottom lane and Tryndamere keep going for top lane. That's kind of the best thing we got. So I'm constantly trying to look for that one kill. Kill Kog'Maw, go straight at him, annihilate him, whatever. But I was thinking he was going to back off and I would be able to use my ultimate, but alas, nothing happened with that. I die, Kog'Maw dies, a really awkward team fight happens where, you know, the enemy just kind of has to back off, and Tryndamere kind of just zooms in and doesn't do anything, which is kind of the whole basis of Tryndamere in this whole thing. And then Misfortune dies, and the enemy team goes for the initiation, and then we just kind of gently walk away. Again, that's kind of all that's going to happen. My team, for all intents and purposes, actually has pretty good disengage, or a very dangerous approach from the enemy, because if they can't stop Misfortune or the Nunu, they just kind of get annihilated. But that's kind of all we really got. The means to kill one person if it goes perfectly, or in split push, or, you know, just run away like cowards. You know, Scion would be proud. So, look at my team, my build, alright? I regret my build entirely through this, but to my honest, criticism, I didn't know what else to really build. At first I thought, you know, Iceborne Gauntlet would be good to help me do some bursty damage and, you know, become slightly tanky and, you know, so AoE slow, I guess, right? That didn't mean shit. And later on, I'm gonna buy probably the worst purchase I could have made this entire game. Righteous Glory was an okay purchase, but as you can see, it wasn't the best. I mean, honestly, it was an alright purchase, so I can try to get Kog'Maw or somebody in certain blitzes, but it could have also been replaced with almost anything and would have been better. I buy Stoneplate or whatever that gargoyle item is. I should have kind of realized that it doesn't really matter against Kog'Maw, but I don't know. You're gonna see. Every time I activate it, I either activate it too late or it doesn't do jack anything. So right now I'm kind of, as mid-game rolls in, aside from maybe grabbing somebody and killing them, which I can thanks to the Iceborne Gauntlet and just being a fat ass, I can't survive fights. You know, I'm not even a tank. So all I'm gonna do in most things is just kind of go in there and get my ass kicked and hopefully grab somebody. That's the most I can do. I regret all my purchases in this game. Like, that's how bad I feel. Hell, I even considered maybe I should have, you know, just gone full on AP, because it doesn't matter if I'm tanky to survive. We're not going to do anything if we can't really, you know, blow them up in one shot, right? So, yeah, that's why. None of you are going to want to emulate my build by the end of this, and none of you should. You saw my score go from positive to kind of trashy. So, man. Anyways, for some reason my team initiates without me, and they pretty much just get annihilated. Tryndamere gets murdered here. Misfortune's going to get chased down and gunned down like a degenerate. The rest of us do what we do best and just run away. So, I don't know what that was all about. The enemy team, though, they're pushing down mid, and they do get the turret, but they're seemingly doing very awkwardly, where they're going for like a kill or something, so they just kind of stick around for a while. I initiate, I get my ass destroyed, but I don't die. They try their very, very best, and they kind of just fail, but they're sticking around a little too long here. Look. So, you saw, they just blew a bunch of their crap. That's my dog in the background. They just blew a bunch of the crap and achieved very nothing. So now we're going to run there, try to pick someone off. We stopped the, what's-his-face, Vel'Koz, and then give chase. This is super important, that they just burned a lot of things for no reason. We have the idea that they're doing Baron, so we just catch Lee Sin, start damaging him, he can't escape, he doesn't have his ultimate or anything, and we annihilate him. And then we split their team up. Remember what I said about our team being individually better? Rakan will actually kill the Lee Sin by himself. I have the Vel'Koz under control. My teammates are chasing down Victor. Kayle and Kog'Maw are doing Baron, low health, and they almost got it down. My teammates just murder them, and then they get the Baron. And then me and Rakan finish off the Vel'Koz for a team ace. All their possible advantages against my team were completely thrown away. And then Tryndamere gets an inhibitor. This is like a disaster for the enemy team. Like, they didn't think any of that through. Their whole thing in the base, when they were just kind of walking around waiting for some stupid kill, was such a tremendously awful mistake. It cost them a whole lot. And now they're just kind of scrambling for something. It's like they're tilted. Here, they don't kill anybody. I mean, I think we trade one kill for one, but you can see basically they don't have the power to defeat us at this point anymore. Our team was super weak in a team fight, right? But individually we were strong, and with the ace, with the Baron, we've basically been able to kind of naturally surpass them. Our team comp still sucks, but we're really strong now, regardless of how bad that is. I mean, they're farmed, they're strong too, but we're the types of champions that kind of just don't die. So it's going to really sandbag them. And with Baron and with Tryndamere just kind of smashing on the side of them, they're going to basically be in a stalling match now. And that's not what they want. Because later on, if we manage to split push them or at least get them to divide their team again, we'll easily crush them. We already showed that. And again, if they make really bad approaches, especially since my team comp is one that, again, just doesn't die easily, they're going to get punished for it. Or do this kind of thing where Vel'Koz just kind of gets really cocky and, you know, does whatever he does. Yeah, Kayle used her ultimate on the Vel'Koz, but now it puts the Kog'Maw at a huge risk to just kind of getting annihilated. And then Vel'Koz dies anyways. Again, their team is super being distracted, and they're forcing the, themselves to be divided and all that stuff, which then makes them do mistakes where they forget that without a full composition, they can't crush my shitty composition. So hooray for us, right? My team might suck in a 5v5 or a 4v4, but in a 4v3, we're definitely gonna win, right? So yeah, Tryndamere, he just annihilated the entirety of bottom lane. He didn't get the inhibitor, but he's essentially just a huge-ass menace to them. His build is pretty bad, but it doesn't matter. It's just Tryndamere, right? If you had a Phantom Dancer, shit would be ridiculous. Here, Vel'Koz gets cocky and chasing him down. We easily catch him and pick him off. Bam! Just again, my team is really good at just punishing them for making bad mistakes. We chase after Kayle, she's got her ultimate, and which is me and Tryndamere anyway, so we also didn't do anything. Also, again, you could see that the gargoyle thing didn't do jack shit, so I'm just a bad purchase. But yeah, at this point, the enemy team, they kind of just lost it. Either they're not realizing they shouldn't be fighting uneven fights, because that's when my team will actually be good, or, they're just kind of tilted off the face of the earth. Whatever, we get the inhibitor, we're controlling the base, and unlike them, we're just kind of more looking for objectives rather than they be super cocky with these kills. So we're not going to stick around way too long. I mean, Misfortune will die, and that will kind of signal or let's get the hell out of here kind of thing. But you get what I mean, right? We took their entire outer or inner base. Now that all that's left is Nexus. So, or Tryndamere's going to try, and he's going to die before he gets the last inhibitor, but whatever, you get what I mean. He's going to allow us to recoup, buy items, me regret the items I buy, and then they try to go for like a gamble trying to get this inhibitor. They, again, the gargoyle thing doesn't do anything for me. I just kind of die. Vel'Koz here gets really, really focused on taking me out. He does kill me, but because it took so long, it allowed him to get caught and murdered. And that, again, that's not something the enemy could, sacrifice. They kind of rely on Kog'Maw a little too much in this because the rest of their team isn't really built to annihilate my team. So again, individually, if they fight these kind of one-on-one fights, they're just going to all lose. All my one-on-one teammates are way better than their counterparts in the 1v1 scenario. Either way, we go for the Baron, and we obviously get it. There's no competition for it. The Elder Dragon's up, and the enemy team is going to try to at least go for it. And that's where we end up meeting them for the coup de grace, right? Alright, so this is all, this whole thing's been kind of a weird dumpster fire of a game. Here I try to, pop Victor's thing, and then Misfortune goes gung-ho on him because she deals a shitload of damage at this point. I go for him, I miss my barrel where he flashes it, I throw my ultimate, it doesn't kill him, they focus me down, but I'm really a big fat ass, so I'm just kind of taking all the brunt of their fire. I survive, I go over the wall, go with my plant again to try to kill the Victor, and I just completely fail because at this point Kayle's healing is immense. They blast at me, I just walk away from that, all in the meantime that all this stupid crap is happening. All in the meantime, look at the mini-map. It's like, just Tryndamere going at it, at the Nexus. The enemy team is just like, well, we might as well lose, and lose with fire they will, but they lost. We didn't think we would win, but holy crap, just a chain of mistakes, and we won. It's a fucking dumbass game.